So I'm Emily Takara, and I just finished 7th grade at Kennedy Middle School in Cupertino. I was so lucky to have Lakshmi as my mentor. We did so much together, and we did most of our meetings on Google Hangouts, but the picture here was a couple of our face-to-face meetings. Lakshmi leads the business engineering group at Object Edge, and she works on e-commerce and data analytics. She has an MBA from the Indian Institute of Management, and she's a computer science engineer. But she has been at Magic for 2 years, and when she isn't at work, she is active with her 10-year-old daughter. Lakshmi comes to every meeting with resources for me to learn and explore from. I've learned so much from Lakshmi about coding, from scratch to C coding. My idea for my project was to create a device that I could use in my backyard to conserve water without worrying about not giving plants enough water. So my final creation is an Arduino-based device that reads the moisture levels of the soil of a plant that you choose, and I wanted to incorporate some of my own interests and experience. And I've explored with 3D printing and 3D designing, so I created a case and lanterns for it. For the process, Lakshmi had me start in Scratch, which I'd already had experience in, but she taught me even more about it, and so I learned how to create a really simple code to do something that seemed pretty complex. And I learned more about functions, and so we created a code that had the characters change color based on what number you entered in, which is the moisture level, and then for what range it fell into, it would turn a certain color. And after that, I got the Arduino and the hygrometer. The hygrometer is like a moisture sensing device that goes with the Arduino, and it's in the picture on the bottom. And I learned how to wire those up and how they work. And that's after I finished figured out how to put it together, and after troubleshooting. And then after that, I went into AutoBlocks, which is really similar to Scratch. It's the visual interface has blocks that you drag and drop and combine to create a code. And Lakshmi and I created a code and uploaded it to the Arduino, but it doesn't have functions, so it was really long. And so she had me upload that into C coding after we got it to work. And then she showed me how C coding works, and she showed me how functions work. And we got it and we rearranged it so it made sense and made it much shorter. And I used Illustrator and Tinkercad to create the case and the designs. And the image on the left is of the C code, and then next to that is me soldering the hygrometer to make it longer. In addition to the project I did, we did many experiments in the programs and websites. So in AutoBlock, I created a light sensing code to make sure that the Arduino was working, and it turned on certain lights based on how much light it was reading. And then in Scratch, Lakshmi taught me what fractals were, and we created a bunch of different patterns. And then in C, she showed me a program called Cloud9, and we did math computations like finding the area and circumference of a circle, and then string operations like repeating back a series of numbers or letters. This experience was really great. It was really neat to code something on a computer and then see the Arduino working in your hands and then see things lighting up as a result of the successful code. And Lakshmi was such a great teacher, and I learned so many new things, and I learned more about things I thought I already knew about, like Scratch, and then I learned about factorials and C coding. And I really liked iterating and troubleshooting the problems that came up, because it was really neat to figure out what I was doing wrong and then fix it. And I feel really excited to explore more with the skills that Lakshmi has provided me with, because I know that not only can I create technical stuff like reading the moisture of soil, but I can also create art like the fractals in Scratch. And so my final design I call Garden Moisture Lanterns, and it allows the user to select a certain plant and measure the soil of that plant and see whether there's enough water or too little or too dry water for the plant. And I chose to display this by using different color lights, different color lanterns. So green is just the right amount of water, red's too dry, and blue is too much. And then there are 2 different buttons because different plants need different amounts of water. So there's a graph that kind of shows how it's the ranges I have set in right now, and it shows how it might be different for the different plants you choose. And in the future, I imagine to use this in like large areas so that you would be able to see like patches that you might need water and you don't overwater everything. And I imagine it to be a product, and I want to be a product designer. Thank you.